So I'm out at the office, and this morning I had a little bit of time before I had to do something. So I tried hooking up both the Retekess V115 and the XHData D219 to the Degen antenna to see what I could find. And I didn't record that because I didn't really have time, but let me just talk about what happened a little bit. So what I did is I ran a search with the Retekess, and then I went through the bands on the XHData. And I found, I don't know what I found, 5, 6 channels. That's about all I'd expect at that time of day here using this antenna setup. However, I found 2 more on the XHData than the Retekess, but when I went back, tuned the antenna properly for the band I was in on the Retekess, I could, and typed in what I thought I was hearing on the XHData, I could receive every signal. So in the upper bands, this is not doing much worse than this, at least with that antenna setup, which is interesting. I expected the XHData to do quite a bit better. And however, in terms of station discovery, the search function on this missed some of those stations, and because there's no way of stepping through, you don't really have a way of tuning it to find stations. I mean, unless you want to type them each in individually with the keypad, which is silly. In that regard, the XHData did much better, which I think has got to be true of most radios which use an analog style dial. Of course, although it looks like an analog radio, it is not. It is a digital radio. So, you know, who wins? No one. Although I think the XHData is probably easier to use for a novice shortwave radio user. On the other hand, in the upper bands, this does look like the Retekess might be a bit better than a lot of people give it credit for. Again, I still think it's deaf on the lower bands, but that may not be true when connected to an external antenna. The advantage is that it didn't overload with the Degen 31MS, which I use here. Might or might not overload with the MLS 30 Plus at home. It does during the day, but that's AM overload, I believe. Anyhow, interesting to give it a try. I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it worked rather well. Anyhow, have a good afternoon.